Okay, so first things first, I can't see any of you. It's incredibly bright up here. But thank you all for having me. The first day was absolutely incredible. And I do want to give a special shout out to my friend Mike for being the catalyst to all this. Shout out Mike. I love you. He's one of my best friends.
So what have you said to him that convinced you to show up here?
Like honestly, one of the first things I said to him was, when you wake up in the morning and there's no curvature, you know, I don't know, I'm not really good at proving things as much, but I've showed him a lot of documentaries on YouTube. There's a lot of good YouTubers.
Like this is where it gets confusing, bro. I don't know.
What videos?
That I'm about to find the out. Me exploring, journey to the edge. Yo, who's to say I can't be the first one to do that?
I think that would be incredible.
On some maverick.
Said I came across a video making fun of it. It was absolutely making it hysterical, and I said, wait a minute, I want to look into this. Once I looked into it, I couldn't go back. Again, it was just so much compelling evidence. Never in a million years that I think I'd be speaking on this topic of all things in 2018.
Not only speaking on it, you founded the exact conference that we're at, yeah?
I started the first Flat Earth International Conference. I put on the first one last year in Raleigh, North Carolina, and it was the first one ever.
So this is only the second one?
Technically the third, because I put on Canada's first one in Edmonton, Alberta, my home city.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. And like I said, you're not the founder of the Flat Earth movement. Do you know who is?
There really isn't like a founder of the Flat Earth, because if you go back, there were all these people that were always questioning science, but something took place massively in about 2014, 2015, and I can't really explain it, but it was almost like this awakening took place, because right across all spectrums, people just started waking up. And it wasn't just non-religious, religious, everyone of all different walks of life just started waking up.
For you, is it a religious thing?
For me, myself, yeah, I'm a Christian. I identify with taking the literal interpretation of the Bible. So for me, that really was the number one reason. But what I was blown away with was looking at all the evidence from a scientific standpoint and also connecting the dots. Things weren't adding up. The fact that they'd never been back to the moon in almost 50 years, what's up with that?
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again.
It's weird. It's weird.
I try to do that in my documentaries, like Scientism Exposed. When I put that out, it doesn't even mention Flat Earth. It basically has all these questions just to be like, wait a minute, what's going on?
Really?
Yeah, so I put it out in such a way that it doesn't even mention Flat Earth, but it gets into all these different areas where you're like, what's going on? You know, since then, they admit the furthest they can go is 400 miles. They say that the moon is 250,000 miles away. And yet, in the last 50 years, all they can do is 400 miles? And that's every space agency. They can only go to low Earth orbit.
And what comes after the International Space Station once its mission is over? How do we ensure the presence of humans in space?
Well, that's a great question. The plan that NASA has is to build a rocket called SLS, which is a heavy lift rocket. It's something that is much bigger than what we have today, and it will be able to launch the Orion capsule with humans on board, as well as landers or other components to destinations beyond Earth orbit. Right now, we only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go. And this new system that we're building is going to allow us to go beyond and hopefully take humans into the solar system to explore. So the moon, Mars, asteroids, there's a lot of destinations that we could go to, and we're building these building block components in order to allow us to do that eventually.
Why do you think they haven't made an effort to, so let's say the first moon landing is fake. Why have they not made an effort to even make it look like they could go back?
It's a really good question, but it's unbelievable that they haven't actually.
Because now it's, yeah, right.
The technology's caught up, right?
Yeah.
And again, I think that we could call foul many times, because even prosumer cameras like the Nikon P900 or the P1000, we can zoom right in on the moon. We could call bluff either day, any day.
Yeah.
What they're doing is they're going further off. They're going to places where we can't verify. And supposedly they're going to Mars. They got a rover driving there, sending pictures back through their magical Wi-Fi.
What about Elon
100
Musk?
million miles away. A lot of problems with Elon Musk. It comes off as a private space enterprise and stuff. But again, they're all connected with NASA. This whole thing is there's problems with it all its way around for sure.
So that's why I try to keep an open mind. And the first thing you said is there's a lot of evidence. I'm just like, I don't know if, as I've seen before, and as it's been told in history, if you're told something your whole life and taught
to think a certain way, it makes me very skeptical, and that's why I'm here, is because I kind of like open my eyes to it all. But so what, in your opinion, is the most damning piece of scientific evidence for you that like is clear that the Earth is flat?
I would say that we were seeing way too far. On a ball of 24,900 miles in circumference, at 100 miles away, Logan, it's like 1.4 miles below the curvature of the Earth. We're zooming in on objects that are 400 or 500 miles away. It's an impossibility. We shouldn't be able to see that far. And then this year, infrared is starting to explode. We're able to see even further. So, I was just doing an interview and I was saying the same thing. I'm like, listen, either the ball is like 50 times bigger, and they lied to us about the ball, it's just bigger, or we're flat, because everywhere we look, it's flat. Water always finds its level. Another compelling thing, look at the properties of water. It's always flat.
So you're willing to admit that the ball, if it's a ball, might be bigger than what they've...
What I'm saying is every picture that we've seen, all the scientific research to this date would be wrong, right? What I'm saying is either it's monstrously bigger, because everywhere we look, even at 1,000 miles away seeing objects, you just start looking at the math and it gets dangerous when you start talking about distances of that. You're getting into like 10, 15, 20 miles below the curvature of the Earth. And then you got the meteorologists coming forth and saying, well, what you're seeing here is a mirage, right? Well, we know what mirages look like, man. They're inverted, they're upside down, they're wavy. I'm just telling you right now, we're seeing way too far, if we were on a ball. And again, a lot of people just are being very skeptical of the fact that we're this flying ball running through space. Again, it's just not computing with a lot of people. The distances, the speeds that we're traveling, you start looking into how fast we're actually traveling, not just spinning, but we're traveling around the sun, and then the entire galaxy's moving. It's unbelievable. But here's the thing, and I think this is the most important thing. When you're taught that you just came from nothing, because the scientific narrative is nothing exploded and created everything. And we're crazy. They'd rather believe that nothing created all this. We're saying something different, that maybe there was an intelligence behind it. So for me, I think that's really compelling. But again, it gives people no dignity, no value. They're just evolved animals that are just gonna die. When all of a sudden you start looking into the fact that maybe everything in the sky was put in place for us, there's value. Maybe there's something out there that's actually watching over top of us. So again, for me, it changes your entire worldview, because now you're going, wait a minute, there's something going on here. And maybe they've been trying to hide the fact they didn't want you to know the true identity of what we all were, the fact that there was a creator and that we are special and unique, and that everything that we see in the sky was made for us, not that we're just some random planet and billions of other trillions of galaxies.
Are you, because Elon Musk actually said this once, like, are you saying we could be like specimens in a petri dish?
Well, Elon Musk goes so far as looking into simulation theory, and yet he's applauded, but flat earthers are ridiculed. But what I'm saying is, I'm just saying that what is set up, I personally believe that yes, the creator is looking right down on us. I believe in the biblical firmament. It divided the waters from the waters, and it says the sun, moon, and stars were placed in the firmament. And again, what it says, biblically speaking, they're just lights, dude. They're lights. And yes, the moon, and here's a startling thing. If you start measuring moonlight, it actually is a different property than sunlight. And this will blow your mind, because everyone can do this test, and everyone's doing it, and they're coming to the same conclusions. If you go out in the sun, man, you're hot, right? You go in the shade, you cool down. The opposite happens with the moon. You actually warm up when you go into the moon shade.
Why?
Because the moon's giving off a cooler light. The sun gives off a hotter light. They're both lights.
I traveled, this stuff really interests me. I traveled to Tennessee. I live in LA. I traveled to Tennessee last year during the solar eclipse.
Yeah, I remember, yeah.
And blew my mind, first and foremost. But secondly, I saw the shadow of the Earth on the moon, and it looked like spherical.
Gotcha, with the eclipse, and a lot of people have a hard time when they're looking at eclipses, and they always look up in the sky. When we're talking about the Earth, they'll say, what about this and this up in the sky? And I say, look, rather than all these issues, let's get right to the Earth. How do we prove the Earth from Earth, rather than looking at all these manifestations that are happening up in the sky? But I'll tell you one thing that was intriguing about that eclipse, and that was, I think, in August, in the great U.S. eclipse. How do you actually make an object shadow smaller than the object itself? Try to take a light source on a ball and try to make the shadow smaller than the ball itself. So what I'm saying is the distance and what they're saying, it was a 70-mile shadow that was going across.
Yeah.
Look at what they tell us how big the moon is. How do you make a shadow? The shadows are larger than the object itself. It was 70 miles. Got a big problem. Maybe that moon is smaller than what we've been taught, just like the sun. We believe the sun and the moon are the same size, just like they appear in the sky.
Really?
They say, oh, they're further away, millions of miles. They're the same, man. They're both lights. They do different things, but they're the same size. I know. It's kind of crazy stuff, man. But I'm telling you, man.
Yo, is it like? Is it? I'm sort of like scared because there's some tomfoolery happening.
Yes.
What would happen if like someone took you up into space and you hypothetically, of course, saw around Earth?
Well, hypothetically, it's not going to happen because you and I, even Logan Paul, is not going to space. You know, you could be.
I want to.
Okay, but then, like I said, you try your hardest and see if you can do it.
Can anyone get me to space?
There you go.
If you have a ticket to space, please send me up.
There you go. So yeah, you try and you put it out there, but the reality is you got to be part of the military and all these operations. It's just there's a lot of suspicious activity going on. We're just asking those questions, just like when they say that they destroyed all the telemetry data for the moon landing. They said they destroyed it or they can't find it. That's the greatest achievement of mankind's history. And you're telling me it's not an SD card reader. This is like reels of data, 400 boxes. They lost.
You know what they think happened to the original moon tapes? Is they might have been taped over. It's not a cassette, it's not an old mixtape from college.
We've been unable to track it down.
And as I said, even if we had it, we don't have the machines to play it back.
Some up.
Well, someone got fired.
Someone got fired.
Someone got fired for sure. I mean, that's crazy. This is all the data that would support the altitude, gas mile, everything on the moon. They don't know where it is, or some other people are saying we destroyed it.
So all right, so then moon landing was fake.
Absolutely, 100%.
100%.
100%. Yeah, absolutely 100%.
What about that Mythbusters episode where they're like, have you seen it?
I've seen it, yeah. I'm just saying, I think the moon landing is pivotal in this discussion because if we're talking flat Earth, that is just so out there if you believe they landed on the moon. So I tell people all the time, start with the moon, really investigate the moon, because if they didn't go to the moon, how far can they go? And why would they lie? Those are the pivotal questions you would ask.
It's very true.
It all hinges on that moon. Yeah. Because here's the thing, people will say, well, I don't get it. Why would they lie? So hypothetically, let's just say they lied. Personally, I believe to show us the ball.
Roger, Neil. We just wanted a narrative such that we can, when we get the playback, we can sort of correlate what we were seeing. Thank you very much.
Here they discuss the fact that they have turned out the lights and have blocked out sunlight from entering the spacecraft through the other windows, as to not cause any reflected light to fall onto the spacecraft's wall in the foreground.
Okay, very good. Well, we shut out the sun coming in some of the other windows into the spacecraft, so it's looking through the number one window, and there isn't any reflected light. We only have one window that has a view of the Earth, and it's filled up with the TV camera.
Because the minute they did that, the debate was over. We all knew what we lived on. It was the first picture we ever got, the famous blue marble, right? And
but then still, why would they lie? What's the point of telling people the Earth is a ball versus the Earth is flat? Like, who cares?
Well, I mean, for me, I come from a spiritual mindset. I'm looking at the fact that if there truly is a creator and you have an opposing force, they're going to want to keep humanity from understanding that truth. So all they have to do is basically make you a meaningless ball floating around with no creator, atheist, mindset. And I'm saying, but once you identify that that's not the case, then all of a sudden a creator becomes a lot more, of a reality. So I honestly believe, again, it's not these men that are lying. I'm saying that there's people behind the puppet strings that are, and there's very few people in on this, Logan. There's very few people. It's not like tons of people. It's compartmentalized. A lot of great people at NASA just working. They honestly believe that rover that they're building is driving on Mars.
Really?
But you tell me, Wi-Fi. We walk down the hall, we lose our Wi-Fi. What kind of magical Wi-Fi beams pictures back over 100 million miles away through asteroid belts?
It takes 17 minutes.
It's ridiculous. I mean, through a million miles of space with the Van Allen radiation belts, all of these things. People just believe it. They soak it up. What kind of Wi-Fi is that to beam pictures 100 million miles away?
Good Wi-Fi that I could definitely use to upload my vlogs.
There you go, man. You know how fast that would be? Upload. Boom. Done.
Yeah, I need that. Okay. All right. So let's go back down to Earth for a second.
All right.
The edge.
Okay.
Have you seen it?
No, and I don't believe that there is an edge per se. There's nothing that can fall over the edge, right? What most flat earthers believe is that if you take, say, a globe and you squish it down, Antarctica becomes kind of like an ice shore. It's what keeps the oceans in. But what's really intriguing here, and this is another area where I tell people to go research, the Antarctica Treaty. Here's the crazy thing. 40 countries signed a peace treaty, and it's the longest standing peace treaty that no one's ever broken, and it says that only military and science can go there. It's the only country in the world that's not owned by anyone. Now, you can get a flight, you can get it booked, get down there, they're gonna take a picture with a penguin, they'll take you to a ceremonial pole. But you say, hey dude, I wanna grab a backpack, I wanna go explore. You won't be allowed.
Really?
It is guarded big time, and we're blown away because we try this, And we encourage anyone, do it yourself.
I feel like if I did that, I would be the person to hike across Antarctica and die via frozen.
But let's say you have the
death.
provision. Let's just say you have all the provisions. You got crews. You got food. You're good. Try to do it. Try to do it. Put it.
Don't say that to me because I will.
You won't die.
I'm that guy.
Try it.
I'm that.
Do it. Do it, because you're going to be turned away, and that's going to make you even more of a believer. Go, wait a minute, why is this the only place on earth I can't go venture? Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Okay, so because the edge is like the big sticky point. It's like, whoa, what happens at the edge? Don't you think there'd be one crazy person who would attempt, like a me, for example, that was maybe slightly less smarter, who's like, I want to go to the edge.
Sure. If you start researching it, you'll find there's people that have. They've been turned away, and they've actually, through military action, you won't be able to do it. Now, you need permission just to go there. So you just try to book a flight to Antarctica, you can't. You're going to have to get permission first, which you will. You'll get it. They'll take you to a ceremonial pole, say it's the South Pole. You can take a picture with a penguin or whatever, but you're not allowed to go backpacking.
Side note, I read a fact the other day that in the ancient, like Jurassic times, there were penguins the size of humans.
Wow, I haven't read that. That's a new one for me. I'll have to look at
Love
it.
penguins.
Cool. Well, there you go. Go to Antarctica, but then sit there and say, hey, I want to go explore, dudes. They'll be like, sorry, man, you're Logan Paul and all, but you're not going anywhere.
Bro.
Okay, go.
Okay, all right, what about this? Do you acknowledge that the moon is spherical?
It definitely could be. I mean, here's one of the things. The fact that they say the Earth is a planet, I think that's the biggest disconnect and that's the biggest lie. We are different from everything we see in the sky. Sure, everything in the sky could be spherical, maybe not. We have no 100% reason not to believe that they aren't. Maybe they're discs, maybe they're... The reality is this, though. This, what we're on right now, is not the same as everything we see in the sky. That's
really?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because,
how
again,
is that?
Try this. Just imagine there's no space. Because the minute you start comprehending these things, you're thinking of space. Think of you seen the Truman Show with Jim Carrey?
Yeah.
Yeah, think of that on a large scale. There is no, he's contained in there. Everything's there, lights, whatever. I'm not saying it's all just lights, but what I'm saying is his worldview was presented from an early age. And all he understood is what he grew up in. So what I'm saying is, what if the earth is created the same way? And even if you try, it's very hard to go this way, and it's very hard to go up. They've got those things locked down.
I'm like, man, I'm sitting here and I'm kind of under the mindset of like, what if they're right? What if?
What if?
I don't know, bro. You would hate when I go to space and they send me up in the shuttle and I just see a pancake. I'm just gonna be like, Robbie, this guy, he knew. And that's what scares me because I don't like being ignorant. I don't.
Well, that's great. You're here. You have an open mind. You're just trying to learn, take it all in. Again, for us, we're always saying, listen, man, don't believe a word I'm saying. Go research it yourself.
Well, we've done some experiments.
Okay.
I just don't know if they're like.
Which experiments have you done?
We were on a plane and Mike held a string up to the window. And he's like, oh, it's flat. Look, he brought a level on the plane in. Yes, it appears flat, but I just don't know if the experiments are scientific enough.
Yeah, and they're sending balloons up without GoPro lenses because the GoPro lens distorts it. 120,000 feet.
I know. It's
flat.
I know.
So the question is, how high do we need to get to see this curvature when we should see it? And again, if you don't have a GoPro lens or a fisheye lens, because here's the crazy thing: we see all this footage, they're rising up, and at seriously, what is it, 50 feet? It's already curved. The Earth is already curved. And then they'll show this curved footage. We're like, dude, it's already curved with your lens at 50 feet. And you're going to say it's a globe? So again, there's so many problems, dude. There's so many people here that we came to this and we thought this was crazy. But it's unbelievable how much stuff. It doesn't matter what you look into. You're going to have some issues and questions. But hey, take your time. Examine it. There's no rush. It's not like, hey, you got to believe this. You know what? It's great that you're just open-minded and you just want to ask questions. There's nothing wrong with asking questions. But it is scary if you think that everything you thought was true was a lie. It is frightening. It's frightening. So I hear you, man. I hear you.
Man, Robbie, I just don't know what to believe anymore. You make a lot of good points.
Like I said, man, watch, just get information, read books, read the opposing side. Again, we're definitely not afraid of the other side.
I feel like I'm not saying this as a joke, I feel like my brain is imploding.
Dude, like I didn't sleep for 3 days, man, and I was into some conspiracy stuff. This thing blew my mind. I couldn't sleep for 3 days. I was like looking up in the sky, like, are you kidding me?
Have you seen Interstellar?
Yeah, there you go, man. Yeah, of course.
Walked out of that movie. I didn't know what planet I was on. I was also extremely intoxicated.
Well, that was Hollywood. This is reality, and all I'm saying is how much bigger of reaction you're going to have if all of a sudden you come to the conclusion that, my goodness, man, this might be true, that we're not on a spinning ball, and that there is no space the way I thought it was. People love space, man. I love Star Wars. I was like the next guy, man. I loved all the space. To lose space the way we've been taught is a scary thing, man. But you know what? It's also beautiful, because if everything was created for us, there's someone out there, man, that wants a very intimate relationship, and they're watching out very close. They're very close to their creation.
Oh, do you have that? Here. I put this in front of you.
Okay.
What comes to mind?
Lie.
Lie.
Yeah, a lie. I think, here's the thing. This thing is placed right in kindergarten and grade 1. And kids look at it and they say, that's where you live. They don't have the reasoning ability to say, but I don't understand. How does water stick on it? Or how does it... Later in life, we are indoctrinated from such an early age. Just like Truman was presented his reality, this is stuck in every classroom, right from an early age. So that's what you see, the first thing. They have these in mobiles above cribs. While the baby's sitting there, they got like little planets going around. Dude, this is deep, man. Look into it. You're gonna be blown away at how sophisticated and how deep this lie goes. It's like you can't write this stuff. It's almost like this movie would be too good, to do, but yet Hollywood won't even touch this, because you know what?
I'll touch it, Robbie. Thanks, bro. No, thanks for having us too.
No,
Thanks for giving
sure.
us like media passes and everything.
No, man, for sure, absolutely. I've been following you for a while. Like
Oh,
I said,
really?
I caught you on Casey Neistat's and stuff.
Oh, tight.
I've been watching your journey and stuff, and man, you're human like us all, man. But you're open and you're learning. And
Yeah.
it's awesome. Yeah.
Thank you, bro.
I think you're genuine for sure, and that's
I'm a genuine guy. I think
genuine.
that's why my content connects, because like I don't give a I'm just like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do whatever I believe and feel and think. That's why I'm not afraid
And that's
to come
what's
here
great
and be
about you.
photographed and shit.
That's what's great about you, man. Because you'll be one of those guys that be like, you know what? I don't even care. I'm going to tell people I'm looking into this. I didn't say I believe it. And that alone, you even putting on a video saying that I just want to look into it, you're going to get railed on. You don't even have to say you believe in this. Just say, I'm curious. I'm intrigued. They will rail on you to the same degree.
I've been railed before.
I know you have.
And I'm gonna be railed again.
But this might be even greater of railing that you're going to get. Like, I know the stuff that the media has done, but I'm telling you right now, you come out publicly, if hypothetically you believe this and you say, I'm coming out 100% a flat earther, if you think you had bad media attention before, I'm saying it could be worse.
Yeah.
But it will also be good as well. So, something to think about. But man, it's great, man. Take in the conference.
Yeah, absolutely.
And enjoy everyone, and yeah, you're more than welcome. Anything you need.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. Seriously, thank you.
No, man. Appreciate it.
So I consider myself a man of truth, someone who hates being ignorant. I try my best to avoid being ignorant, and that's why I decided to come here. Because if I'm gonna do this, and if I'm gonna put my name out there, I want to know the facts, right? The fact that we haven't been to the moon in over 50 years. The fact that the moon emits its own light. Some of the best scientists that the globe heads, is that what you guys call them? The globe heads. Some of their best scientists can't explain gravity. Neil deGrasse Tyson, Bill Nye. At the end of the day, do they even know? And so I wanted to come here and explore for myself, do my best to keep an open mind. And you guys have been amazing. You have been so receptive to me and my friends. So I want to say thank you for that. I've met a lot of great people here. Everyone's welcomed us with open arms. Made a lot of amazing relationships. Hopefully, some relationships that will last long into the future. But yeah, man, if like I said, if I'm gonna do this, and if I'm gonna put my name out there, because I'm sure you guys know there's a stigma with being a flat earther, and if I'm gonna do it, I wanna know the facts.
I'm not ashamed to say there's bubbles in space. I'm not ashamed to say they lost all the data to the moon missions. I'm not ashamed to say that water's a natural level. I'm not ashamed to say that parallax in stars never happens. I'm not ashamed of doing science. I'm not ashamed to be skeptical of others who say, don't worry about it, we got it all figured out. I'm not ashamed to do tests and to say that gravity is still only a theory. Can everybody say these 3 words? I'm not ashamed.
I'm not ashamed to say, my name is Logan Paul, and I think I'm coming out of the flat earth closet. Awesome.